What's up, everybody? It is Dankamyouknow, and I am back with another video. And if you've been following my channel, you know that I just posted a tutorial on installing a Noctua air cooler in my Omen 25L. Well, in that video, I mounted it horizontally, so I wanted to change things up a little bit and mount it vertically and see if there was any difference in temperatures for the GPU and the CPU. So without further ado, let's get into the video and let's see if it made a difference. So first I'm going to start off by removing the fans from the cooler, and I undid it from the motherboard, the connector, and I'd highly recommend just getting the fan out of the case and disconnecting it, because you can see it fell down right there. It didn't damage anything, but just disconnect them and get it fully out of the way. And then I go ahead and get the other side, and these just clip on to the heatsink. So simultaneously, I'm just going to unscrew each side. And right here, I realized that I did not grab the right screwdriver, so I actually had to go back out to my garage to get one that's long enough. So I keep unscrewing each side, try to do them as even as I can. And I begin to start to remove the cooler, and I notice that it's a little bit stuck. I don't know if it was the thermal paste that was doing it, but I keep trying to unthread it. And I keep going side to side, and it's still stuck, and I'm still thinking that the threads are maybe caught, so I keep loosening it. And you can see I get up to get a little bit more leverage, and then unscrew this side a little bit more, and then I finally get it to pop off. And there's the old thermal paste on the cooler. And I start cleaning the paste from my cooler install. And that time I used a little bit too much thermal paste, so I had some that overflowed out the side of the CPU. So I used some lint-free paper towels and some cotton swabs, some Q-tips to clean the side of the CPU and get off as much thermal paste as I can. Here I am getting all four corners and then cleaning the CPU. And then I start to clean the cooler itself and get all that paste off. And I believe right here I was grabbing some isopropyl alcohol and I was cleaning it up. Get it nice and shiny and ready for its vertical mount. So some overflowed and got in the side of the cooler too, so I did a thorough job of getting all of it off. So there's the finished product. And then I get some alcohol for the CPU and I start cleaning it up. So now I'm going to move the brackets so I can mount it vertically, because right now I'd only be able to mount it horizontal, but I just basically have to move these two brackets to the top and bottom rather than the left and right. So then I put back each thumb screw, and I grab my screwdriver and just make sure they are all uniformly tight. And I sped this up because if you guys have seen this many times, but my top fan was set as an intake because I just kind of wanted to see how it would do. But now, since I'm going to have the CPU cooler fans blowing upward, I didn't want to have opposing flow, so I'm changing this one back to an exhaust. So all the air from the CPU goes upward and out the top. And I get it back in there. Get my magnetic screwdriver, which is a lifesaver for these tiny little screws, and get it screwed in. And then now I'm reapplying thermal paste and using less than last time. And me being paranoid, I add a tiny bit more, and it's hard to see, but I believe I used the proper amount this time. So now I set the cooler and start going side to side with it and just uniformly tightening each Phillips head on each side until it is pretty tight. And then I believe right there I got it. So now I get the fans positioned, and I wanted to hide my harnesses for the fans a little bit better this time around. So I end up feeding the Y cable I'm using underneath and attach it to the fan, and then get it fed through, and then attach this side. Get that side clipped in, and I kind of bumped the tripod again. It was hard to work around the tripod and light. So I get that side clipped in. And sometimes it's hard to get these clipped onto the cooler. You really have to make sure you get it between the heatsink fins to make sure it's sitting properly. And I was trying my hardest not to bend any fins or distort any of them. So now I'm going to the top one and getting this clip in, and then making sure it's positioned correctly. And then now I am putting in the connection to the motherboard. And that's it. So here's a little before and after of the cooler mounted sideways versus vertically. So when the cooler was mounted horizontally, I was seeing idle temperatures from about 33 degrees Celsius up to about 40 degrees Celsius. And then while in game, I was seeing temperatures from about 50 C up to about 62 C, somewhere around there. And then after changing the cooler to a vertical orientation, I actually didn't see any temperature change at all. But if you remember from my install video when I originally mounted the cooler horizontally, I used a little bit too much thermal paste. So that may be my variance in temperatures from the difference in orientation. But as of right now, my CPU temperatures are almost identical when it was mounted horizontally compared to vertically. And my GPU temperatures didn't really change much at all, but I figured they probably wouldn't get affected by this too much, but I was curious to see if any change were to occur, but nothing really seemed to change on the GPU front. So now it really seems like it comes down to personal preference, and I think I prefer the cooler mounted vertically, mainly because the Noctua stamp that is engraved in the cooler is now mounted the right side up, and when it's horizontal it is sideways, but it's very hard to see when the side panel is on and the RGB is on, so it's not that bothersome that it's sideways if it's horizontal, but it's little things like that that kind of bug me. So down in the comments, let me know which orientation you guys prefer, and I think I'll create a little poll in the comments to see what everybody prefers more, mounted vertically or mounted horizontally. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm at about 930 subs currently, so in about 70 subs, once I reach 1,000, I'll be giving away the Noctua D9L air cooler. So please subscribe if you are new and let all your friends know. I mean, even if they don't own an Omen, this cooler will work for pretty much any CPU, and all the brackets are included, so it will work for just about any PC. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.